right now on Arkansas Crime Watch. Caught on camera.
They took out about $1,500 to $2,000 on each of my cards.
A suspected car thief goes on a wild shopping spree, fighting crime with money.
Our caseload beginning in 2018 went up 83%.
City officials determined to get trigger pullers off the streets. An Arkansas Crime Watch exclusive.
She's like, if you do it too hard, it might hurt him or something like that. I'm like, oh, no.
A father interrogated as his 5-month-old son lay limp in a hospital. The deal he got after finally admitting to the crime.
Through 75 counties and hundreds of investigations, from the most violent crimes to petty infractions. This is Arkansas Crime Watch with Kevin Kelly.
Good evening and thanks for watching Arkansas Crime Watch on Fox16.com. I'm Kevin Kelly. We begin tonight with a never-before-seen police interview which sheds light on a child abuse case that resulted in probation for the victim's father. It all happened back in 2017 when deputies arrested a Garland County man in connection to brain injuries found on his 5-month-old son. Tonight, we're learning what he told police then and what he has admitted to now. Tyler Thomason has the story.
November 15th, 2017, an unemployed 22-year-old Clayton Renders describes his daily routine with his 5-month-old son. 2 days earlier, his son was here, in the hospital, covered with wires and tubes, suffering from a traumatic brain injury, and Renders was a suspect. According to court documents, Renders said the infant had thrown his head back playing in a bouncy chair, went limp, and vomited. Doctors and detectives believed otherwise.
Would you say you have a short temper when it comes to crime? I wouldn't say I have a short temper. It stresses me out.
Arrest reports state Renders eventually admitted to shaking the baby when he gets angry. Renders said the baby had gone limp another time before.
Did something say to you that shaking him or getting carried away with him could injure him after his arm went limp that one time?
She's like, if you do it too hard, it might hurt him or something like that. I'm like, oh, no.
Garland County deputies arrested Renders on a domestic battery charge. After more than a year of hearings and motions, Renders pleaded guilty and received 5 years probation.
According to court documents, the child is not expected to suffer long-term injuries or effects from this. It's unclear whose custody the child remains in today. Joining me now to talk more about this case, the crime and the punishment, is producer Scott Schneider. You've been following this case for a while. Scott, let me ask you this. Do we know when he changed his story and finally admitted to the crime?
Well, Kevin, not specifically. What I can tell you is that he changed his story over the course of a year as the case went through hearings and motions. He originally pleaded not guilty shortly after the arrest, but changed his plea to guilty in August. Now, as far as to why he came to that decision, still without a question, that question without an answer tonight, rather, as his reasoning wasn't specifically mentioned in any of the documents that we looked at.
Okay, so it was mentioned in Tyler's story that we just watched that this wasn't the first time his son went limp. Do we know anything more about that?
Well, Kevin, the only thing we can confirm is what was briefly discussed in police reports and interviews, where he mentions to investigators that his son had gone limp when he was bouncing him around or when his son was in the bouncy chair. Other than that, nothing else is mentioned.
Interesting. He pleaded guilty, as you know. He got 5 years probation. Some might say that he got off easy, especially after seeing the photos of his son in the hospital.
Well, Kevin, those pictures are definitely hard to look at, especially when you know that young boy suffered a brain injury. I'm sure it's very difficult for you as a father. I know you are.
Yeah.
The judge, as far as probation, the judge in this case looked at everything and determined that 5 years probation was enough.
And I think a lot of people might be asking about his son. Is he going to be able to visit him or see him? Do we know anything about that?
Well, Kevin, that's another question that right now it's unclear, murky waters. We don't know. After looking at his sentencing order, there wasn't any mention of any type of protection order, and we don't know what the custodial rights are at this point, but we do know that at this point it doesn't appear the child will have any long-term problems as a result of the injury, so good news there.
Yeah, definitely some good news. Appreciate you joining us on Arkansas Crime Watch. Appreciate your time, Scott. Thanks. Turning now to a crime caught on camera. A suspected thief going on a wild shopping spree shortly after breaking into a number of cars. The crime taking place at a popular trail in Russellville. Stephanie Sharp talking to one of the victims who has a warning for others.
I just like the fresh air and getting the exercise.
For the past 6 months, Elizabeth Mahone has been coming to the Bonadilla Trail in Russellville. She says it's a great place to get away. She found out quickly, crime, though, can happen anywhere.
This is a veteran memorial right here, and they're just desecrating it.
Sunday morning, she noticed her car window was smashed open. Her purse and her sister's bag stolen.
They took all of her personal belongings, even took her cell phone.
All that's left is glass scattered on the ground. She says the suspect even took $500 that she was desperately relying on.
I usually don't have a lot of cash on me, but I just happen to do today. I'm having surgery in the morning. I already had money in there for that.
The family turning into detectives themselves, visiting the stores the suspect used their credit cards at.
We have transactions where they swiped like 5 cards. 3 of them didn't work, so they keep on going to the next one.
Police confirm this is the woman, and they need help identifying her.
They took out about $1,500 to $2,000 on each of my cards. I probably had, 10 to 15.
Mahone now plans to find a new place to walk, but wants to warn others about her misfortune.
The detective told me that this happens about every 3 to 4 weeks here.
Wow. There was a second woman who had her car window smashed in as well. The suspect stole about $175 worth of items there. If you recognize that woman, know where she might be, call police. A 70-year-old man now facing first-degree murder charges after police say he shot his own grandson. The shooting taking place last Thursday along the 800 block of North Beach Street in North Little Rock. Police say 38-year-old Alex Bluford was taken to the hospital after being found with multiple gunshot wounds. Later that evening, 70-year-old Lewis Thomas turned himself in. 3 days later, Bluford passed away. As a result, charges against Thomas were upgraded to first-degree murder. This, by the way, is North Little Rock's 12th homicide of the year. A son from Amity, Arkansas, now facing serious charges after police say he stabbed his own father. The crime happening last Saturday at a home along the 100 block of Trace Court. When police arrived, they found 71-year-old Johnny Tedford outside with multiple stab wounds to his head and neck. Tedford was able to tell authorities his son, the man you see here, 50-year-old Tony Tedford, showed up at his house and that he hadn't seen him for about a year. After talking for about 10 minutes, he claims his son then attacked him and took off in a stolen truck. The following day, police received a tip that Tony Tedford was at the Albert Pike Walmart. He was arrested at the store and now faces first domestic battery charges. Little Rock police arrested this man, 26-year-old Stalin Lanagon, for endangering the welfare of a minor. Police say he was babysitting his girlfriend's 3-year-old on Monday when he heard a gun go off in another room. According to the police report, the young boy accidentally shot himself in the arm after finding a gun stashed in a drawer. Lanigan was taken to the Pulaski County Jail. The city of Little Rock continuing to fight crime, especially gun violence, now with the help of 3 new public safety grants. As Haley Brooks reports, the grants total more than $1 million.
$1,270,743 is being granted to the city of Little Rock in public safety grants. More than half of that is going to combat gun crimes.
Our caseload beginning in 2018 went up 83%. 83%. Most of those are gun cases. And so our goal is to take trigger pullers off the street.
LRPD is getting an in-house National Integrated Ballistic Information Network system. They hope this new system will help link gun crimes together.
I have a huge desire to make sure that Little Rock is a safe place for everybody, especially young people in this area.
Eric Gilmore lives and works in Little Rock. He says he sees crime daily and hopes this grant will push the community in a positive direction.
$1 million is probably a great start. There's so much that needs to be done. I think some of it's money, some of it's just people.
About 1/3 of the funds will go to the department's victim services to help hire staff and service specialists.
This just gets us more traction in our efforts to help make this city safe, especially of violent crime.
Lastly, $93,000 from the Stop Violence Against Women grant will add a domestic violence detective to LRPD's staff.
Digging deeper, some of the money will go towards funding 6 crime victim advocates, including hiring someone who speaks Spanish. Another advocate will specialize in helping the LGBTQ community, and a detective will be hired strictly to handle cases of domestic violence. The grant money, by the way, will be available the first of the month. The Arkansas Department of Corrections recently posted on social media saying the inmate population is growing at a fast rate. According to ADC, the population is growing by 36 inmates a month. Now, if this rate holds through the end of the year, the total growth will be 442 inmates, which is almost enough to fill a smaller facility. For comparison purposes, in 2018, the number of inmates decreased by 23 a month. The Faulkner County Detention Center pouring cash into safety upgrades. Officials are spending $300,000 to upgrade locks in the maximum security facility, adding new security cameras, as well as replacing boilers. The money awarded by the Quorum Court, but could be, I should say, more could be coming to address another issue, and that's overcrowding. The sheriff is proposing a 50-bed temporary housing facility that requires a $1 million deposit.
We're on the 16th day of September. We're already at 271 that we've booked, and we're looking at, between releases and bookings of last month, almost 500, and we have a little over 400 beds.
If the Quorum Court approves, the money could be allotted before the end of the year. Turning now to Crime Tracker. State police investigating after a Hot Springs police officer shot an armed man Wednesday afternoon. Police say they were called out to a home on Chapel Hill Road at around 11:30 Wednesday afternoon and found this man, Zachary Burks, standing on a boat dock with a gun. The police report states when he raised the gun at them for a second time, an officer shot Burks in the arm. He was taken to the hospital and released. He's in jail for aggravated assault and other gun charges. Here's how one neighbor described the situation.
I heard a couple of shots, and then I heard a couple of more, and then I heard another one, and then a couple of more. And I came inside, and my partner was like, "Greg, what is all the police out here for?" And I said, "There were 7 shots that I heard."
The officer is on paid administrative leave, which is standard policy. As for Burks, he was taken to the Garland County Detention Center on a zero-bond parole hold. 2 people face charges for a marijuana growing operation in Izard County. The sheriff's office says police found marijuana plants growing in Kenneth and Amy Smith's home. The discovery was made as officers executed a search warrant in the community of Sage. Bond was set at $30,000 for Kenneth, $20,000 for Amy. A cold case watch, an arrest made in a murder case out of Little Rock that has been under investigation for just over 2 years. On August 13th of 2017, officers with LRPD were called to a shooting along the 3100 block of Main Street. According to the report, Vincent James met police there and told them 2 people shot him as they tried to rob him at his home. He later died in the hospital from his injuries, originally believed to be non-life-threatening. On Monday, Little Rock police arrested this man, Tevin Nelson, in connection with the cold case and charged him with first-degree murder. Authorities are still seeking the second suspect. Tonight's Mug of the Week goes to Keosha Jackson, who was booked into the Pulaski County Jail last week on a third-degree battery charge. Keep in mind, all of the suspects you've seen here tonight are innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. Remember, if you have any information on any of the cases we just talked about, you're being asked to call your local police department. As we leave you, here's a look at Arkansas's Most Wanted. We do want to say thank you so much for watching Arkansas Crime Watch. I'm Kevin Kelly. Be smart, be safe. And if you see something, say something. I'll see you tomorrow night on Fox 16 News at 5:30 and 9.